The story takes place in a small town on the outskirts of Tokyo in 2013. This town, with its narrow and peaceful streets, seems to be separated from the bustling life of Tokyo just a few hours away. This is where Mr. Takashi Yamamoto, a single father, lives with his only daughter, Emiko Yamamoto. The life of the father and daughter is as peaceful as any other people in the town, where everyone knows and is friendly with each other. Mr. Takashi is a middle-aged man who has experienced great loss when his wife passed away from illness, leaving him to raise his daughter alone. As a devoted father, he always puts Emiko first, taking care of her and loving her very much. Emiko, 22 years old, is an excellent university student. She studies hard at a prestigious university in Tokyo, not far from the town. Emiko not only excels in her studies but is also the pride of her father, who always believes that his daughter's future will be bright. The father and daughter live in a small, simple but warm house. Every day Emiko takes the morning train to school and returns home in the evening. Their life, although not rich, is full of love and connection. Everything seems to be peaceful forever, but no one expects that a terrible event is about to happen that will completely change their lives forever. On the evening of June 13, 2013, Takashi Yamamoto became concerned when his daughter, Emiko Yamamoto, did not return home as usual. Emiko, 22, was a diligent university student and had always been in the habit of texting or calling her father if she was late. However, on that day, Emiko did not leave any text messages or calls. After 24 hours of no news, Mr. Takashi began calling Emiko's friends and relatives to seek information. All of the people he contacted claimed that they did not know where Emiko was and that no one had seen her since she left school the previous afternoon. While Emiko's friends confirmed that she had no plans to go out or any reason for not returning home, her disappearance became more suspicious. Mr. Takashi, after searching unsuccessfully and without any clues, decided to report his daughter's disappearance to the police. On the morning of June 14, 2013, Mr. Takashi went to the local police station to report the incident. According to normal regulations, the police can only handle the case after the missing person has been absent for at least 24 hours. However, given the special circumstances of the case and Mr. Takashi's testimony that Emiko had shown no unusual signs before her disappearance, the police decided to immediately begin a preliminary investigation. The Tokyo police force quickly gathered information about Emiko, starting with her classmates, family, and relatives. According to the testimony of Emiko's friends, she was a person with a stable life, without any major conflicts or serious problems in her personal life. This led the police to rule out the possibility that she had left on her own. The police then proceeded to check Emiko's itinerary on the day of her disappearance, looking at the places she had visited and the people she had come into contact with. The lack of any trace of Emiko's whereabouts since she left school led investigators to consider all possibilities, including the possibility that Emiko had been in danger. The investigation shifted from a typical missing person search to looking at clues that suggested she had been abducted or had encountered some other unusual circumstances. All of Emiko's relationships, from family, friends, to people she had frequent contact with, were taken into consideration by the police. Immediately after receiving the report of Emiko Yamamoto's disappearance, the police began investigating the people closest to her. They began to collect statements from Emiko's father, Takashi Yamamoto, to better understand her living habits and close relationships. According to Takashi's statement, Emiko was a good daughter who always informed him if she was late, so her sudden disappearance was unusual. The police then continued to work with Emiko's classmates and other close friends. Through the process of collecting information, they found that Emiko had a normal social life without any signs that she had any major problems. However, some of Emiko's friends mentioned her relationship with her boyfriend Koji Suzuki, with whom she had recently had many arguments. The police began to have suspicions about Emiko's personal relationships, especially with her boyfriend. They decided to expand their investigation, focusing on those closest to her, in the hope of finding any clues leading to this mysterious disappearance. During the investigation, the police began to collect information from Emiko Yamamoto's friends. Some of Emiko's friends revealed that the relationship between her and her close friend of the opposite sex, Hiroshi Tanaka, was strained. Emiko and Hiroshi were very close, but recently, a fierce argument broke out between them in class. According to some classmates, after that argument, the two seemed to stop talking to each other. The conflict between Emiko and Hiroshi became a particular concern for the police. Some of Emiko's friends said that during the argument, the two used quite harsh words. Some people even heard harsh words exchanged from both sides, creating a tense atmosphere between them. Hiroshi, although Emiko's longtime friend, seemed to have something that prevented the two from mending their relationship. This argument occurred shortly before Emiko went missing, and this made Hiroshi the first potential suspect in the police investigation. According to classmates, the incident between Emiko Yamamoto and Hiroshi Tanaka was more than just an argument. In the heat of the moment, Emiko accidentally said some harsh words. Although friends could not remember the entire conversation, some said that Emiko said something that deeply hurt Hiroshi. Emiko's words seemed to ignite the argument, leading to Hiroshi's uncontrolled actions. According to witnesses, after being provoked by Emiko's words, Hiroshi became angry and pushed her hard against the table. This push caused Emiko to suffer minor injuries, but no one thought that the situation would lead to serious consequences. After pushing her, Hiroshi stood still for a moment, looking straight at Emiko with cold eyes. Then he said a haunting sentence that many classmates still remember. "Remember what you said to me. You will regret it." This statement quickly became a topic of discussion in class, but at the time no one thought it would be a sign of something terrible about to happen. Classmates who witnessed the scene could not help but worry about the tension between the two. Immediately after collecting information about the tense argument between Emiko Yamamoto and Hiroshi Tanaka, the police quickly identified Hiroshi as the first potential suspect in Emiko's disappearance. With the testimony of classmates and Hiroshi's haunting words after pushing Emiko, the police could not ignore the possibility that this tense relationship had led to something more serious. Hiroshi was immediately summoned for questioning. At the police station, Hiroshi was cooperative, but could not hide his tension. During the interrogation, Hiroshi firmly denied any involvement in Emiko's disappearance. He affirmed that, after the argument, the two did not see each other again and that he had not harmed Emiko. However, Hiroshi also admitted that they had a heated argument on the day Emiko went missing. He did not deny that he lost control and pushed Emiko against the table, but insisted that it was just an act of anger, not intended to cause serious consequences. Hiroshi asserted that he had left school afterwards and had nothing to do with Emiko's disappearance. Hiroshi claimed that his close relationship with Emiko had made her boyfriend Koji Suzuki jealous. Koji asked Emiko to cut off her friendship with Hiroshi, which angered Hiroshi and led to a heated argument. However, Hiroshi provided an alibi for the night Emiko went missing. He claimed that he was home at the time and that the security cameras in the apartment complex clearly recorded him not leaving the house that evening. The police verified Hiroshi Tanaka's testimony and examined the security camera footage. Just as Hiroshi had said, the camera footage showed that he had been home the entire evening of Emiko's disappearance and had never left the apartment. With a clear alibi, the police decided to eliminate Hiroshi as a suspect in the case. However, during the interrogation, Hiroshi provided important information that took a new turn in the investigation. He revealed that the relationship between Emiko Yamamoto and her boyfriend Koji Suzuki had become strained recently. According to Hiroshi, Koji was very jealous and controlling, especially when he learned that Emiko and Hiroshi were too close. It was Koji who asked Emiko to cut off her friendship with Hiroshi, causing many conflicts between the two. The police began to question Koji, Emiko's boyfriend, and decided to expand the investigation into him, with new signs of tension in their relationship. Koji Suzuki was not your average boyfriend. He stood out with a strong and somewhat intimidating appearance. His body was covered in intricate tattoos, some with spiritual meanings, others showing boldness and fierceness. From his arms to his chest, the tattoos tell a mysterious story that only Koji can fully understand. True with his tattooed appearance and cold demeanor, Koji always makes a strong impression at first sight, especially to those who don't know him. According to Hiroshi Tanaka, Emiko's best friend, Koji and Emiko met a year ago at a small event in the area that they both attended. Their relationship started out quite romantic, with Koji attracting Emiko with his mystery and masculine demeanor. Emiko, with her curious nature and love of discovering new things, easily got caught up in Koji's life. At first, their relationship seemed perfect, with romantic dates and intimate moments. However, according to Hiroshi, as time went on, Koji began to show negative aspects of his personality. Koji was not only jealous but also very controlling. He wanted to know every move of Emiko, from who she met to where she went. In particular, Koji cannot stand the closeness between Emiko and Hiroshi. He constantly suspects that there is something more than friendship between the two. Koji's jealous streaks often flare up violently, leading to endless arguments between the two. Hiroshi reveals that it was Koji who asked Emiko to cut off her friendship with him. This is the beginning of the cracks in their relationship. Although Emiko tries to maintain her friendship with Hiroshi, Koji's pressure causes her to gradually distance herself from her best friend. Details about Koji inevitably make the police and the audience wonder, is Koji hiding something behind those mysterious tattoos? Is he keeping a dark secret related to Emiko's disappearance? As the investigation into Emiko Yamamoto's disappearance continues, the police quickly realize that her relationship with Koji Suzuki, her boyfriend, may be the key to solving the case. Based on the testimony from Hiroshi Tanaka, Emiko's close friend, the investigators decided to investigate further about Koji, a character with a striking appearance with dense tattoos on his body, showing a strong yet mysterious style. The investigators gathered information from Emiko's friends and acquaintances, and a picture of Koji gradually emerged. Emiko's friends began to reveal that her relationship with Koji was not as perfect as it appeared. The police discovered that Koji often showed excessive jealousy, controlling Emiko's every move. Not only did he want to keep Emiko by his side, but he also imposed strict rules on her about who could appear in her life. According to some statements, Emiko had shared with her friends that she felt pressured by Koji, but she could not easily escape this relationship. Moreover, there were times when Emiko was injured due to arguments with Koji, but she always tried to hide it and gave the excuse of minor accidents. This made the police even more suspicious that Koji might be involved in Emiko's disappearance. The conflict between love and control gradually becomes the focus of the investigation. The police decide to summon Koji for questioning, hoping that the sharp questions can reveal the secret he is hiding. All the connections between Emiko, Hiroshi, and Koji now become important pieces in the puzzle of the crime. The police decide to monitor Koji Suzuki's behavior after receiving suspicious information related to Emiko Yamamoto's disappearance. They follow Koji's every move, from meetings to daily activities, to grasp his habits and personality. When Koji arrives at the police station for questioning, his calm appearance cannot hide the anxiety inside. During the interrogation, the investigators ask a lot about the relationship between Koji and Emiko. He denies all the accusations, claiming that he did not see her that night because he went out to eat with friends. However, Koji's testimony seemed to contradict the information the police had gathered. When faced with sharp questions, Koji's confidence began to crack, making the police suspicious of the truth he was hiding. After gathering information from Hiroshi Tanaka, the police decided that they needed to investigate further about Koji Suzuki, Emiko Yamamoto's boyfriend. The investigators found that the inconsistencies in Koji's testimony needed to be clarified, so they decided to monitor his behavior. The police followed Koji from his meetings to his daily activities. They wanted to grasp his habits and personality to determine the appropriate time to summon him to the police station for questioning. When Koji arrived at the police station, his calm appearance could not hide his inner anxiety. The police were prepared to question him. During the questioning, the investigators immediately asked questions about the relationship between Koji and Emiko. Koji firmly denied any accusations related to Emiko's disappearance. He claimed that he did not see her that night and that he had gone out to eat with a group of friends. However, his testimony did not match the information the police had gathered. The police felt the need to verify Koji's statements because something was not right. They decided to search his apartment. When they entered, the air in the apartment seemed stuffy. The police split into groups to search for clues. An investigator discovered a pair of shoes in a corner of the house. There were a few drops of blood on the shoes, which immediately raised the police's concerns. Another colleague found an axe hidden under the bed. There was a dark red stain on the blade similar to blood. The police realized that these discoveries could be important evidence in the investigation. The investigators quickly collected this evidence to send for DNA testing. They understood that this could be irrefutable evidence if it was related to Emiko. After collecting enough evidence, they returned to the office to analyze it and planned to interrogate Koji again. Was Koji really involved in Emiko's disappearance, or was there something else being yaosipen? The suspicious clues from Koji's apartment had the police on edge. Each new discovery added to the suspicions surrounding the complicated relationship between Koji and Emiko. They were determined to find the truth, leaving nothing unturned. Under the bed, the police found a small, pale pink bag lying quietly in the darkness. An investigator carefully pulled the bag out of the dirt, and when he opened it, he found a few personal items inside: a wallet, a few books, and some small jewelry. However, what caught their attention the most was this bag. When Emiko's father, Takashi Yamamoto, was invited to the scene to identify it, his eyes glanced at the bag and stopped immediately. "Yes, this is Emiko's bag," he confirmed in a trembling voice. This confirmation was like a shock, making the atmosphere in the room more tense than ever. The discovery of Emiko's bag at Koji's apartment has shattered all of his previous denials. The police realize that the evidence not only confirms Emiko's presence at Koji's house, but also suggests that she was in a dangerous situation. Koji can no longer deny his involvement. Koji's confusion increases as the police point out that the bag could not have been there if he had not been involved. Anxiety begins to spread throughout the room as Koji realizes that his life may be turned upside down. The eyes of the investigators are as sharp as knives, not allowing him a chance to hide. Koji knows that if he does not quickly come up with a reasonable explanation, he will face more serious consequences. All eyes are on him, and everything he has tried to hide is now at risk of being exposed. With tension in the air, Koji becomes increasingly panicked. The police know that they have reached a crucial crossroads in the investigation, and every detail could lead to the truth about Emiko's fate. The feeling of suffocation increases as suspicions pile up, forcing Koji to face unanswered questions. After collecting evidence at Koji Suzuki's apartment, the police quickly sent blood samples from the shoes and other items for DNA testing. The process was tense, with investigators anxiously awaiting the results. Everyone understood that this could be a major turning point in the case involving Emiko Yamamoto's disappearance. A few days later, the lab sent the results report to the police station. When the investigator opened the document, a hush fell over the room. The blood sample found on the shoes by the police was confirmed to match Emiko's DNA. This information came as a huge shock, confirming that Koji was directly involved in the case. The police quickly realized that this discovery had completely changed the course of the investigation. This solid evidence not only strengthened suspicions against Koji, but also opened up the possibility of further investigation into what happened on the night Emiko went missing. They knew they needed to question Koji again, with clear evidence in hand. Tensions rise as the police prepare for their next interrogation, determined to uncover the truth about Emiko's fate and unravel the mysteries surrounding her complicated relationship with Koji. The interrogation lasts for 42 hours, becoming one of the most intense sessions the police have ever conducted. Koji Suzuki is held in an interrogation room with bright lights and a stuffy atmosphere. The relentless questioning from the investigators constantly presses him to discover the truth about what happened to Emiko Yamamoto. Initially, Koji stands firm, denying any involvement in Emiko's disappearance. But as the investigators continue to present compelling evidence, from blood on his shoes to Emiko's bag found in his apartment, the pressure begins to build. Koji becomes increasingly nervous. His eyes are filled with anxiety, and beads of sweat roll down his forehead. As time passed, the tension grew. Koji felt exhausted, his body ready to collapse. The police continued to dig up information about his relationship with Emiko, and the pressure from them began to create cracks in Koji's mind. Memories of his jealousies and arguments with Emiko kept coming back, making him unable to calm down. Finally, under unbearable pressure, Koji bowed his head and admitted his crime. His voice trembled as he confessed that due to his love for Emiko and his jealousy of her best friend, Hiroshi Tanaka, he lost control of his anger. Koji recounted that fateful moment when strong emotions arose, leading to an action he could never take back. As Koji's testimony began to flow, the police listened attentively to every word, taking notes of every detail. They knew that Koji's story was not just a confession, but also an important piece in the larger picture of Emiko's fate. As Koji Suzuki began to confess what had happened, the atmosphere in the interrogation room became heavy. He sat hunched over, his face tense and bewildered, his eyes vacant. His breathing was rapid, and each word slowly came out of his mouth, as if the nightmares that had haunted him for a long time were finally released. Koji confirmed that during the argument with Emiko, he strangled her. His uncontrollable anger led to a terrible act that he never imagined. And after realizing that he had caused Emiko's death, a sense of panic filled his mind. He did not know what to do and decided to dispose of her body. Koji used an axe to chop up Emiko's body. This gruesome image made the investigators shudder when they imagined it. After chopping her up, Koji stuffed her body into a black suitcase, the suitcase they found at his apartment. This was an act of desperation to cover up his crime. Koji then buried the suitcase in a mountain behind the city. He thought that if he hid her, everything would be over and he could escape all responsibility. But the truth was different. Koji could not escape the haunting of the crime he had committed. Emiko's image kept appearing in his mind, causing him to live in fear and guilt. The investigators realized that the information Koji had just revealed was very important. These statements not only helped to clarify Emiko's disappearance, but also opened up many questions about how a relationship could turn into such a horrible tragedy. They understood that the investigation needed to continue to clarify all aspects related to the case. Following Koji Suzuki's instructions, the police quickly went to the mountain where he confessed to burying Emiko Yamamoto's body. They approached the remote area where dense bushes and large rocks obscured everything around. The atmosphere was tense as the investigation team searched. Each step seemed to add to their anxiety, as no one could predict what was waiting for them ahead. Emiko's body, though dismembered and partially decomposed, still brought a sense of numbness to everyone present. The gruesome details of the scene made everyone feel cold. Information about the discovery of Emiko's body was immediately reported to Mr. Takashi Yamamoto, the father who had been living in anxiety and pain all this time. For when he arrived at the scene, his heart felt like it was being squeezed when he saw the suitcase and what was inside. The police tried to prepare him mentally, but nothing could ease the pain in his heart when he witnessed his daughter's body. Mr. Takashi was silent, tears welling up in his eyes as he stood before the heartbreaking image of his daughter. The feeling of pain and despair enveloped him like a strong wave, pushing him into the abyss of sadness. Every memory, every happy moment with Emiko flashed through his mind, making him feel like his heart was being broken. At that moment, not only he but also everyone present at the scene felt the sadness spread. A promising young girl had now become the victim of a terrible tragedy, and the father's pain was beyond words. They knew that his life would be forever changed after this traumatic moment, and the search for justice for Emiko had only just begun. Koji Suzuki was finally brought to trial for the murder of Emiko Yamamoto. The courtroom was filled with tension, with the victim's family and the public present, all eager for justice for Emiko. Throughout the trial, irrefutable evidence, from the blood on her shoe to the suitcase containing her body, was presented. Koji was sentenced to death, bringing relief to Emiko's family. However, psychologists pointed out that Koji showed signs of mental disorder, opening up the possibility of a reduced sentence. to his defense attorney argued that the pressure of jealousy may have led to his crime. This complexity left people feeling frustrated and worried about the fairness of the sentence. The pain of losing Emiko Yamamoto still weighs heavily on the family and the community. Emiko's father, Takashi, has to live with the haunting memory of his daughter's death, while the beautiful memories have now become indelible pain. Although justice has been served, the truth about the relationship between Emiko and Koji, along with the complex psychological factors, still leaves many unanswered questions. This story is not only a tragic love story, but also a valuable lesson about the cruelty and unpredictable consequences in life, when seemingly small conflicts can lead to great disasters.